Welcome to the Deep Dive. You know, when you tune into an online stream, it often looks pretty effortless, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Smooth gameplay, quick reactions, seems easy.
But behind all that, there's this whole complex world. Ambition, tech issues, just a lot of personal dedication. It's this weird space where passion and, well, work get really blurry.
It really is. And it's fascinating how tied together the creative side and the business side are for these creators. Plus, just maintaining that persona day in, day out, that's a lot.
Exactly what we're digging into today. We're doing a deep dive, looking at one specific week, June 9th to 17th, 2025, in the life of the streamer DSPGaming.
And we've got some interesting material, his own words, basically, pulled from YouTube transcripts, even checked out his Kick channel.
Yeah, the goal here is to really unpack what's driving the content. You've got the constant push for financial goals, this intense dance with new gaming gear that sounds, frankly, frustrating sometimes.
Definitely frustrating.
And then these moments where you glimpse the personal cost of being online all the time.
And this isn't just us summarizing. We're giving you a direct look at the raw stuff, the unfiltered chat, the daily recaps. It gives you a pretty unique insight into what it's really like being a full-time creator. It's quite the journey into that daily grind.
Okay, let's get into it. First big theme, the grind for goals, with money really being a key driver here. It becomes obvious really fast that financial support for this streamer isn't just like a nice bonus.
No, not at all. It's explicitly tied constantly to the actual content he's making. It's almost like a direct exchange, you know? Support unlocks experiences.
Yeah, like you see with Super Chats, Super Stickers, memberships, gifted subs, all of it on YouTube and Kick. It's like the engine making the content choices happen.
It really is the backbone. And this dynamic where the money directly shapes the content, that's kind of a fundamental shift, isn't it? It puts creators in this constant feedback loop with the audience's wallet.
Blurring the lines, maybe, between like their own ideas and just what the audience pays for.
Potentially, yeah. Something to think about.
And the link is super clear. He talks about support goals, unlocking specific things. That DSP tries it mod pizza meal.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
That needed, what was it, 15 out of 20 goals met. So it's a real tangible carrot for the viewers and a condition for him doing that stream.
And you see the immediate effect. He mentioned 1 week was floundering, like 0 goals hit. Then, bam, June 9th. 3 goals achieved in 1 day. It shows just how quickly things can turn based on that support.
It's not just watching. It's like the audience is actively steering the ship, dictating the schedule through their contributions.
Which does raise that question, what does that do to creativity long term if every single piece of content has to, pay its way by unlocking support?
Yeah. Okay, another interesting angle here.
Yeah.
He talks about reinvesting viewer support back into the business, to improve the streams. Sounds good on paper, right? Or a virtuous cycle.
Well, yes, on the surface. But you could also ask, is it really reinvestment or is it just the cost of doing business now, keeping up in this super fast-paced digital world?
Good point. What kind of examples did he give?
Well, the big one was that Logitech G920 racing wheel setup. Steering wheel, pedals, shifter. He said it cost over $350.
Okay, yeah, that's a chunk of change.
And besides that, he mentioned a new microphone, new lights, a new background, even a new frame. They're all upgrades, sure, but you could argue they're also just baseline stuff now to keep the quality up and people engaged, especially when there's so much competition.
It's all about making the show better, I guess. Now let's shift to his Kick channel. There's some interesting dynamics there, too. He specifically calls out a channel named AiPodcast.
Oh, the channel at kick.com/AiPodcast.
That's the one. He says it's both supporting my show, giving him a bunch of subs, but also clout chasing. So kind of a mixed bag relationship.
Seems like it. And that speaks volumes about the complex social stuff happening within these streaming communities. It's not always straightforward.
He also gives shout outs to Kick supporters by name, like Phil Has Diarrhea and Joan Muse for early morning gifted subs.
Yeah, some interesting usernames there, but that direct acknowledgement, it personalizes the support, right?
Yeah.
Builds that community feeling, even with, memorable names.
Definitely memorable. But you can also feel the pressure. He talked openly about being concerned, seeing a big drop in Kick support. Said 150 subs were lost recently.
Wow, 150, that's significant.
Yeah, and he directly asked the audience, get that momentum back on Kick.
Yeah.
It really shows how crucial that constant flow of money is for his whole operation.
And if you zoom out, it really highlights how precarious things can be for creators, even established ones. Losing 150 subs, that hits the bottom line.
You're sure?
So you get these public appeals. Sometimes they sound pretty urgent, asking for more support. It just underlines that constant hustle, that maybe underlying anxiety about keeping things stable when your income depends so much on the audience.
Okay, so that's the money side. Now for the next big piece of his week, the peril of peripherals.
Yeah.
Specifically, the saga of the new steering wheel. This part was quite something.
Oh, yeah, a real roller coaster. It shows how new tech, even when you buy it to make things better, can just bring a whole new world of pain.
Totally. So the anticipation was there, right?
Yep.
Unboxing, the Logitech G920 wheel, the shifter, the pedals. Sounds exciting.
Well, the reality hit quick. He mentioned the lot of wires, which, cable management is always fun.
Please.
And the wheel needed its own power supply. He had to run the cord across the room. Little details, but they paint a picture of the physical setup hassles before you even touch the software.
And then the software, American Truck Simulator.
Mm-hmm.
The default settings were, what do you call them?
Awful, yeah. Things that should be simple were just wrong. Like the turn signals, apparently the left plate turned on the right signal and vice versa.
Seriously, that's wild. And the accelerator pedal acted like a brake. How does that even happen?
Right. Talk about a frustrating start. Like the tech was just actively fighting him.
And it didn't stop there, did it? The problems just kept coming.
Yeah. No, it was a whole sequence. Persistent issues. He mentioned insane resistance on the brake pedal. Said it was way harder than a real brake in a real car.
Huh.
And
Yeah.
the USB cord for the wheel itself was super short. He guessed maybe 5 feet, which for an expensive peripheral like that is just annoying for setup.
Yeah, you'd expect better.
What else? Oh, the shifter didn't work initially in simple automatic mode. Just did nothing. Another puzzle to solve.
And then the USB hub issue, that sounded critical.
Yeah, plugging everything in, suddenly his keyboard just stopped working. Too much stuff plugged into the hub, he figured. So now you've got cascading failures. One
right.
problem, creating another.
Nightmare scenario during a live stream, potentially.
Exactly. And the wheel itself was a battle. Really hard resistance, a crazy centering spring. That's the force feedback, the tech that simulates driving forces.
Right, makes it feel more real, supposedly.
Supposedly. But he said he had to physically fight it to turn hard, and then manually mapping buttons. Another disaster. The engine start button somehow mapped itself to the horn.
Oh my God. The horn, you try to start the truck and just beep.
Pretty much. You can just imagine the frustration.
You really can. He actually said, oh, why has this got to be so frustrating? Why can't it just work? You just hear that exhaustion, that universal feeling when tech just refuses to cooperate.
We've all been there, right? Setting up a printer or something, it hits home.
Definitely.
And beyond just being annoying, it highlights this kind of hidden cost of streaming, doesn't it? This constant battle with tech that's cutting edge, but maybe also kind of buggy.
Yeah, time spent troubleshooting isn't just lost streaming time. It's lost income, lost audience connection. Must be stressful.
Huge stress. It shows that effortless stream is, well, anything but effortless behind the curtain. Now, interestingly, while he did eventually say things like, "This wheel is great," and called it a huge improvement for the truck sim, making it smoother and more accurate, we actually checked the transcripts provided, and the specific phrase, "my new wheel," wasn't used.
0 times.
Hmm.
That's subtle.
Yeah. Maybe just a small sign of that lingering frustration from the setup process, even after things got better. Hard to say for sure, but it's a detail.
That is interesting. But okay, despite all those setup nightmares, the wheel did eventually make a difference.
Oh, big time. He described his gameplay going from fumbling around to, and I quote, "the smoothest, best night I've ever had in Truck Sim."
Wow, okay. So there was a payoff in the end. That contrast, the struggle versus the reward, is pretty stark.
It really is. That reward, I guess, made the struggle worth it for him, at least for the content and the viewers. But it really underscores all that unseen work.
Okay, let's move past the tech woes. We also look at behind the screen, digging into his personal reflections and habits during this week. And there were definitely moments where you saw maybe some weariness or disappointment, especially about support for certain games.
Yeah, you get these glimpses into the more maybe vulnerable side. He talks pretty candidly about aging. Said his body was feeling older, joints don't feel as good, feeling less spry.
It's a reminder that, streamers are people too, dealing with the same stuff we all do, just maybe under a bit more of a microscope. And that constant performance aspect, the grind, must have a physical component too.
Absolutely. And he also touched on dealing with negativity, comments on the nonsense from trolls, and he makes this point about needing to dismiss it emphasizing that his very existence on the internet is a positive, beneficial thing.
You can tell it affects him, though. That need to actively defend himself, manage that public perception when basically your life is the content. That's constant pressure.
It really is. And then there's the frustration when games he personally enjoys, like Claire Obscure or Cast and Chill, don't get much support. He admitted, I can't make people like something. All I could do is try.
That's got to be tough. That tension between your own passion projects and what the audience actually wants or supports financially, especially when your passion is also how you make a living.
It's a super tricky balance. Leads to disappointment, probably, even when you're technically doing what you love.
A delicate dance, for sure. Trying to entertain, pay the bills, and still follow your own interests. Speaking of personal habits integrated into the stream, the topic of beverages came up explicitly.
Ah, yes. The drinks. He mentioned having White Claws during the American Truck Simulator streams, described it as a chill time. It's an interesting choice, making that part of the content itself.
And he connected fishing and beer, right, for the Cast and Chill game. Said he liked having a White Claw or, something to have a little quick drink during that.
He did specify, though, that he only has 1 or 2 alcoholic drinks, and he made a point of saying he doesn't need a mini fridge in his room for them. Suggests it's maybe more of a planned part of the routine for certain streams.
Seems like it. He also specifically mentioned drinking a Smirnoff Ice Smash. That's an 8% alcohol drink during a driving stream.
Right. And he even mentioned planning to get a multi-pack of something to drink from the liquor store specifically for future driving streams. So it sounds like a regular part of those particular sessions.
Yeah, indicates it's not just a one-off thing.
And this routine drinking during streams, especially those chill vibe ones, it's clearly part of the persona, maybe. Part of how he manages the flow, keeps things relaxed for himself and the audience.
It really shows how personal habits just get woven right into the public performance. Blurs those lines again between the person and the streamer persona.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it, how much is just comfort and how much is actively part of the performance, part of the brand he's projecting.
So wrapping this up, we've journeyed through this 1 week and seen this constant hustle for support. The intricate and often maddening dance with new technology.
Definitely maddening at times.
And these really candid moments that hint at the personal demands, the cost maybe, of being constantly on. It's a real snapshot of a creator trying to navigate this digital world where business and personal life are just completely tangled.
Yeah, this deep dive, it gives you this unique peek behind the curtain into the mechanics of it all. And looking at this cycle, the money-driving things, the tech adaptations, the personal resilience needed, what does that really tell us about where online entertainment is heading?
How much does a creator's identity just become their brand? Is there even a separation anymore?
And when those lines between personal passion and professional necessity get so blurry and the audience has such direct power over the content through their wallets, what real independence does a creator actually keep?
And what's the cost to their well-being, their creativity?
And you have to ask, how much does all that transparency, that seemingly unfiltered access, truly benefit the creator versus just feeding the audience's curiosity or demands? It's this really powerful dynamic where the audience holds so much sway, not just over what gets made, but how it's delivered, maybe even how the creator has to live their life in public.
Definitely some heady food for thought there as we watch this whole world of digital content creation keep evolving.